screen there and what they do. Continue. Okay. And then Venus will go over the etiquettes. I think Dan has mentioned muting your mic. That's one of them, but we'll go over some other things. And then additional resources to support you during this learning process, external resources, and also our NTech at Home program. So just an overview of what is Zoom. By definition, it's just a program that allows two people or more to connect over the internet. You can either chat with each other, you can video each other, or just talk as we're doing now. And the usage, as I mentioned, for presentations, video chats, sharing your work. As you can see, I'm sharing my screen. And also, one of the neat tools is that remote support. So we can actually help you with your computer and solve problems on your computer and take over the computer and kind of control the mouse, which is a neat feature of Zoom as well. So for everybody here, how can it help you? It's mainly you can join groups, stay connected with friends and family, learn new things like exactly what we're doing right now, learning about Zoom, and getting help and support for any tech issues that you may have. Okay, so for the installation portion, I'm just going to go over the Windows installation portion very quickly because there's different platforms that Zoom supports. You can see it's supported for iOS, which is Apple, the Windows, the Android, and then the iPhones. So I'm going to briefly do the Windows installation using the demonstration here. So I'm going to switch over to the demo computer quickly. Bear with me for 1 second here. Okay. Are you guys able to see the screen? Yep, good. Okay, so for the Windows, everybody, you just have to navigate to your browser. So everybody uses different browsers. So I use Firefox. You can use Chrome, Internet Explorer, or the Microsoft Edge. From there, you can go into the top box and you can type in the Zoom, essentially just Zoom download if you would like to get there quickly. You'll get to the Zoom Download Center as the first option. From there, you click it. It'll take you to the different things that Zoom have. Like you can see here, there's the one for Google Play. But for the Windows section, we're mainly worried more about the Zoom client. You just essentially click download, save the file. And then from here, different browsers have different locations for their download. So for Firefox, it's at the very top. Chrome will show at the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit up top, hit the Zoom installer. And essentially, it will initialize the installation. And all you have to do is follow the prompts. I'm just going to cancel this because I already have Zoom on here. And once you finish the installation, it should take no more than a few seconds. You'll be welcomed with a screen like this. And then from there, we'll go to our next slide. Yep. Okay. So the account creation is also very quick. I can also demonstrate that as well. It essentially allows you to have access to all the features of Zoom. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that right now. Okay. So we just go back to Zoom. Oops. Okay, and when you're here, you have the option to sign up for the account at the very top right-hand corner. It says sign up for free. Go ahead and click that. You'll be prompted with verifications as your birth date. Just go ahead and enter a birth date. So for here, I'm just going to enter an arbitrary date here. Just making sure I'm old enough to use Zoom and continue. And then from here, it's going to ask you for an email. You can use any email, work email, your personal email. So I'm going to use the email we have already prepped. Zoom test 573. Essentially, once you've done that, it's going to send you an activation link to your Zoom, as it's mentioned here. And then from here, you just have to go to your email provider. So for this account, it's Gmail. Go into Gmail here. I'm going to sign in. Zoom test 573. Okay. Perfect. So once you are in the email, you should see the Zoom activation email right here, Zoom. Please activate your Zoom account. And you just have to click the button that says, the big orange button says activate the account. And from that point on, you just have to complete some more details about yourself. So your first name. So I'm just going to go with Samantha, Smith, password. You can put anything. Just make sure you follow the requirements here. Okay. And then you just click no for this because all the schools are using Zoom as their platform for teaching. So you can hit no. Okay, this part you can skip. You don't need to worry about it because we're not joining any domain right off the bat. So, and from that point on, you're all set to go. Once you've done that, you can go into your Zoom application that you've downloaded, hit sign in, put in the email address that you have, and away you go. Okay, so now we'll move on to the next part. Great. So as Venus has mentioned, a lot of it's going to be demonstration. A lot of it, I'm just going to show you around the platform. The slides is mainly act as guides for anybody who's watching it later. So I'm going to go right into the app and I'm going to talk about everything in terms of its layout. Okay, so let's go into the account we just created. Okay, so once you've signed into the Zoom app, so this is for the Windows. I know it's going to look different for a lot of people's, if you're using a phone or using a tablet, it may look slightly different, but all the features will still be there for you. So for the Windows side, you're going to see the navigation bar, which is at the very top. The home button will take you straight back to this particular screen, which is essentially your home screen. Then you have the chat feature. If you're wanting to chat with other people, kind of think of it like a instant messaging. You can able to chat with people, send messages, etc. Here you can see all of the meetings that you have. You can have, this is where if someone was to ask, oh, what is your personal ID to start your meeting? You can go ahead and just show them this is your ID here. You hit the start button and then you'll be able to start a meeting right off the bat. So Venus is going to show you that later on. From there, you can start inviting people to your Zoom meeting and you can chat with them and video chat and go about your things. The contact section is a very important tool. It helps you keep track of everybody that you know, especially friends and family. You can add them here. Just click the little plus sign at the very top right-hand corner. You'll have the option to add a contact. So channels are different. Channels are essentially big groups of people. Large groups, large organizations have channels where they have a lot of members in there where they can chat and create meetings kind of like on a wholesale with everybody at once. With the contact, it's more of a singular thing. It's good to have so that you don't have to find the people's emails and send them emails. You can contact them directly. So to add them, you go ahead and click add. So the caveat here is you don't have to have a Zoom account. They can just have an email address already. For anybody who has a Zoom account, they will be prompted to accept your friend request. But for anybody who doesn't have a Zoom account, they will be given a Zoom information link to sign up for a Zoom account. So they will get that instead. Okay, so just punch in the email and then hit the add contact button at the bottom, and then they'll be added to your contact list after they've received your request and they've accepted it. Perfect. So going back to the home screen. So these 4 buttons here are kind of your quick access buttons. The first one is for new meeting. If you wanted to create a meeting right away and you click that, it will put you into a meeting right away. And then you can start inviting people. So it's very quick, on the go, right now. This option here just says just click join with computer auto. It uses whatever audio you're connected with, whatever devices you're connected with your computer. It will use that. So just go ahead and click that every time. Or if you're tired of clicking that, you can go ahead and click the checkbox at the bottom here to not prompt you to show this anymore. Okay, I'm just going to end that meeting here. And then the next button here is the we call this the schedule a meeting. So if you wanted to not do a meeting now, but you want to schedule a meeting with somebody else at a later time, 2 or 3 days in advance, or something like that, you go ahead and click this schedule button here, and then you'll be welcomed with some features. And I'm just going to briefly go over them now. And so you can name the meeting for anything. So if you wanted to say it was a meeting to have a chat, just catch up with Tom, something like that, so that um, the other person knows what this meeting is about, or for you to know what this meeting is about. It's a good thing as a reminder. The next part is the date. So when do you want this to occur? So it will be prompted with a calendar. You can go ahead and select the day that you want. You could say Saturday, and then of course the time it's going to occur, and then how long it's going to last. Maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour. I don't think this really matters at all. It could be, this is mainly for work if someone has a schedule they're working on. This feature here, the recurring option, just if this is going to be something that's happening every single week. I know with the NTech program, NTech at Home program, we have recurring meetings with folks. So it's good to have this on so that we know that it's recurring every week, that we can chat with them. The time zone is very important. So if you're meeting with someone, let's say on the other side of the globe, or somebody who is on a different time zone, it will adjust it to their particular time zone for the time that you set it here. So just kind of be aware of what time zone they're in if you're communicating with someone across the globe. The meeting ID is the bunch of numbers and all the fancy stuff you saw in your email. If you're joining it from your email, it will generate all that for you so that you can just send it off. The password is not as important if you are meeting with a friend or something to chat, because the password just introduces another barrier to them. So it's good. It's only good to have if your meeting is more of a private meeting, so that no others can join in randomly and just show up. The waiting room is, you've probably experienced it. It's mainly of a formal thing. So if you're doing a lecture like today, you don't want people to come in while you're preparing, you can go ahead and click the waiting room, and then you can admit them later with the host privileges. And Venus will talk more about that. The video options here, this is, it's good to have them off. So people who join in, they can have it off and they can turn it on as an optional thing. And then for the calendar, it's you can put it into a Google Calendar, any other calendar form if you use calendar applications. So this is an optional feature. And then the advanced options just gives you more flexibility in terms of managing the call. So go ahead and click as you wish. Just go ahead and read them. They're pretty self-explanatory there. So once you're done, you go ahead and hit save. And it will generate, schedule, save. Okay. I don't want a calendar. Okay. Oops. Yeah, so it will show up here. My apologies. I just wasn't seeing where it's showing up. So once you're done, it will show up here. You can see all the information for that particular meeting. And then if you wanted to send it to somebody, you go ahead and click the copy invitation. It will show all this information here that you must have seen on your email. Go ahead and open up your particular email, and then you can go and email that to the person of interest. You copy all of this, go ahead, right-click copy, or it's already copied here, and then send it off. So that's how you do the meeting later. And then the join button here, the blue button, it's mainly for if you wanted to join via an ID. So if someone gave you an ID, you go ahead and put that in and join. You can change your name to anything, but most people stick with their own name. And then the other feature is not turning off your audio and turning off the video. So all of that, it's pretty self-explanatory there as well. The share screen, this feature itself is not really utilized from this point of view, but you'll see that more on your particular Zoom screen when you are listening to something. So Venus is going to go further in detail on that, like how I'm sharing my screen. It's mainly when you're in the meeting. Okay, so from there, we're going to go over to the right. You're going to see the SS, or the red little dots here. What does that mean? These are just all the settings that you have. So the first portion here, You can change your status, available, away, do not disturb. These are for your contacts to see if to see if you're online, you're available to chat, etc. You can set that right here. A lot of these features, like changing my picture, you have to do via the Zoom website. So if you wanted to change your picture to have a picture instead, you just sign in with the Zoom account. 57. Oh, shoot. Okay. I guess making me verify stuff. So once you sign into the Zoom account, you'll be taken to this particular screen. And from here, you can change your picture. It's just a big little head icon here. You go ahead and click that, and then you have the option to upload. Upload is essentially just, where is this picture located on your computer? You go ahead and locate that. Once you're done, hit open, and away it goes, and hit save. And you'll have a picture here, just like how I have on my screen as my picture. Okay, perfect. After that, we go down to the other one, the settings. The settings is pretty important to have. I'm not going to go through every single setting because it gets pretty complex, but mainly the settings are for your particular needs. You can see it here. If you have two monitors or any kind of setup like that, you can adjust them here. But most of the time, the general settings you can leave as is. Most people will only use the settings for adjusting their video. So from here, video, you'll be able to adjust where the video is coming from. So if you have a webcam, just make sure that it's going through the webcam. This is where you can adjust it. For laptops, it's pretty much automatic. It's adjusted to your webcam on your computer. You don't see it here is because this particular one, I don't think I activated the camera. So it's not going to show up here. But if it did, it would show up in this little area here, what type of camera you're looking for. Next, the audio. The audio is important. You want to make sure that people are able to hear you. So here you can test the speaker. The speaker is essentially where is the sound coming out. So for this particular computer, the sound is coming out of the speakers of the computer. You can see different options here, but if you're using a laptop, it's going to say speakers. For computer desktops if you're connecting them with external speakers, they'll show up a little bit differently here. You can adjust how high you want the output of the audio. So if you're a little hard of hearing, you can boost it up a little higher to help you hear the audio. The mic option is important as well because that's where people get to hear you. So as again, most of the computers will automatically default that to your mic that's on the computer. But sometimes some people have headsets. So you want to make sure that you can adjust it to your headset. So that it's picking up the microphone from your headset and not from your laptop. And you can do that adjustment here as well. Okay, and then all the other features just help you with background noise. Most people just leave this to audio. It's fine. So most of this, you don't have to adjust as much. The next one is the backgrounds and filters. So as you can see, I think when everybody join in, everybody has little fancy backgrounds at the back. You can go ahead and click these. You click them and it will have to download the package for it. Just go ahead and download and you'll be able to have little backgrounds like how everybody is. In the event that you want to hide, whatever behind you, so say you had a bunch of people, you had a messy room, you'll be able to at least hide that during the meeting. So you can have that as well. I think you can also add your own image. So if you had a picture of something that you want to have, like cats or penguins or whatever, you can go ahead and hit the add image and have your own personal background behind you. Recordings are for yourself. So if you like our lecture or you like other things that you're listening to, this is where you can adjust where you get to store all of that recording so that you can find it at a later date. This number here, the 370 gigabyte remaining, just tells you how much space you have on your computer. So every time you record, that number is going to go down. So the lower the number, the less space you have to store all these things. Okay, so all of these other features here, adding timestamps, all this is all for your own yourself. Profile, we already went through, just editing your particular picture, etc. Keyboard shortcuts, there's a lot of shortcuts here. Some people like to navigate Zoom using just keyboard things. So these are just mainly to help you press buttons instead of using your mouse and clicking things. This is going to take some learning to get used to, but all of it is here. So you can look at the ones that you think would be useful for you and go ahead and remember that. And make sure you activate them on the very far right. Accessibility is just to help you maybe visualize particular text. So you'll see certain text at the bottom if someone joins, if someone's sharing something, you'll see that text at the bottom. You can adjust the caption to be larger to help see it if you're a little bit hard of seeing. So that's really good to have and to adjust. So these are screen alerts. So screen alerts are if something happens, something the host did, something other people did, you'll see it at the bottom like a big fat text like this. You'll see it come up, and that's where you can turn on and off these particular things. So if you don't want to see them, you can go ahead and turn them off from this point on. Okay, so I'm just gonna switch over to our slides. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is mainly for reference. We've gone through all of that. Same here. So going to create the contacts. We've been through all these steps to the meetings. Okay, just going a little further here. Okay, we went through the settings. So at this point, I'm going to transition the floor to Venus. She's going to cover more of what is the layout, what's going to happen inside of the call. So for that, it's all yours, Venus.
Hi everyone, so I'm just going to go over like how to join meetings. First, give me 30 seconds to set things up on my side and then we can move forward. So give me just a quick moment to connect to the other computer. All right. All right. So let me start sharing my screen. All right, can everybody see those slides properly?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, okay, perfect. Okay, so first I'm just going to go over the difference between a host and a participant. These are terms that you might come across when you're using Zoom. So a host is the person who usually creates the meeting, and this person has more control over who can do what within the meeting. I say the host is usually the person who creates the meeting because when you're in the meeting, you can change who is allowed to be the co-host or the host. And on the other hand, a participant is basically anyone else that's in the meeting. They're the people who were invited, and these people don't have control over what other people in the meeting can do. So I guess a broad generalization is that the host has more control over what happens in meetings. So now I'm just going to go over how you can join a meeting as a participant. So if your friend or someone sent you a link, how would you join the meeting like you did today? So if your friend sent you a meeting invite, the invite would look something like this. And so I'm just going to quickly go over the contents of what a meeting invitation would have. So first, it would have the person who invited you, their name, and then it would have the date of your meeting. And then here you would have the meeting link, which you could use to join the meeting. And then here you would have the meeting ID, and you could also use this to join the meeting. And here's the password, and you might want to take note of this in case the host has set it so that you have to enter the meeting with the password. So you would just enter this password when Zoom asks you to enter it. All right, so if you want to enter the meeting with this meeting link, you would just copy and paste it into your browser. And then you will be redirected to a page that looks exactly like this. And then from here, it will ask you how you want to open Zoom. How would you like to connect to the meeting? So there are two ways you can connect to the meeting. One is just to join from your browser. So if you're using Google Chrome, it will just open it up in Google Chrome and you will join the meeting. The second way is through the Zoom application that we just discussed. So I would recommend using the Zoom application because there is more features that you can use there. Um, so if you want to use the application, you just click this button, open the application. Otherwise, if you feel like using the browser that day, you can just click join from your browser down here. All right. And so after you click on what you want to join through, it will ask you for your name if you don't have an account already. And then it might ask you for the password, which you will find on the meeting invitation. And then you might see this screen that says, please wait, the meeting host will let you in soon. And that means you're currently in the waiting room. And you just need to stay on that page until the host sees that you've joined the meeting and they'll let you in. And so the second way that you could join a meeting, not through your browser, you can open the application and there's this join button right here. So you can click on this join button and then you just input the meeting ID that you found on the meeting invitation. And then you put your name and then you just click join. So again, the meeting ID can be found on the meeting invitation that your friend sent you. So that was all about how to join a meeting if someone invited you as a participant, just like how you joined the meeting today. You were sent a link and then you joined. So now I'm just going to go over how you would join a meeting or start your meeting if you're the one who created it. So I'm just going to go over some of these pictures I have and then I'm going to go through a demo. So first of all, you can click on the meetings tab, and under your meetings tab, you will have all the meetings that you have created. So for example, in this picture, I have a meeting with John. And in order to start this meeting, I'll just click start. And then I'll join with computer audio by clicking this button. And then it will take me into my meeting room, which will look like this. And let's say I've enabled the waiting room. And like Chung said, the waiting room is where you can filter who can enter your meeting. So if people join your meeting, you will see them over here under your waiting room, and you can decide whether to admit them or remove them. Let's say my meeting was with Samantha. Of course, I'd let her in, so I'd press admit. But if you don't know who Samantha is, then you can click remove. So I like using a waiting room because I can filter and make sure everyone that joins my meeting, I know who they are. All right. So now I'm just going to go over a demo and just show you the different buttons when you're in the meeting room. So let me start sharing my other screen. All right, so first let me open Zoom and let me minimize this. Okay, under meetings, again, you'll see all the meetings that you have created here. And let's say I want to start this one. I want to start this meeting with Samantha. So I click here and join with computer audio. And since this is a fake meeting, there won't be any real participants, but I'm just going to go over the different buttons at the bottom and what you can do in a meeting. So first of all, I guess this bottom left-hand corner are some buttons that you'll use pretty frequently. So this mute button is, for example, if your background is very noisy or you're not currently talking, you just mute yourself by clicking the button. And also, if you click this little arrow here, you'll see more settings that you can do. Let's say your microphone isn't working or your speaker isn't working. You can click on the little arrow here to make sure you're connected to the right microphone, the right speaker, and you can also test them to make sure everything's good. So you can mute and unmute this. And then for video, you can start or stop your video by clicking this button. But since there's no camera, it won't work today. But again, if you did have a webcam, you'd also see this little arrow over here, and you can choose which webcam to connect to if you have multiple. And then over here, this security button, only the host can usually see the security button. And because this button basically has all the permissions you allow other people in your meeting to have. So let's say I want my participants to be able to share their screen also. I would tick this button, and now all my other participants will be able to share their screen. So these are other features that you can control down here. And I'm just going to go over what a lock meeting means. So let's say everyone's entered your meeting already and no one else needs to enter. You just click lock meeting and no one else can join. So your meeting room is secure. And then this one, if you want to enable the waiting room for anyone else who enters, you can click this and then you have enabled the waiting room. And then here, if you click the participants tab, you will see everyone that's currently in your meeting. And as you can see, this account name is the host right now, and that's the person with all the controls or most of the controls. And so I'm going to minimize here. And let's say you're in the middle of the meeting and you decide you want to invite another friend to join. You can click invite and then, oops, you have to unlock your meeting first. Otherwise, you can't invite anyone. So you just invite and then you can copy the invite link and just message it to your friend, or you can copy the invitation and send that over and then your friend can join. And here, if you click on chat, this is where you can chat with everyone in your meeting. You can say hi. You can send pictures to each other by clicking on file here. You can upload files from your computer by clicking this button and sending it to everyone. So those are the participant and chat boxes. And here, so I'm going to go over what sharing screen means. So that is exactly what I'm doing today when I'm sharing my slides. I'm sharing with you guys the screen that I have on my computer. So if you also want to do that, let's say you have a picture that you really want to show everyone that's on your computer right now. You just click share screen, and then you'd select the window that you want to share with everyone. So if you want to share your Mozilla Firefox window, you just click that one and then share. Some other features that Zoom has is this whiteboard feature. I can just demonstrate how that works. Let's say it's a brainstorming meeting. You can just write down different ideas here or like draw different things and you can erase. So that's there if you need it. So that is the screen sharing button. And then if you click this arrow, there will be other settings that you can control. You can click on advanced sharing to control who's able to share during your meetings. Yeah, those are pretty straightforward. And let's say you want to record the meeting. You can click this button, and usually only the host can record it unless the host has given certain participants, the permission to do so. And then reactions. So these are different emotions that you can kind of express during your meetings. Let's say someone said something really funny. You can put this joy emotion, and then it will show beside your name, and everyone can see that. Feel free to try that out right now if you really want to. Or if you have a question, you can raise your hand. And then everyone will be able to see that you have a hand beside your screen, behind your name, besides your name. And then after, if someone answered your question, you can re-lower your hand. And then that's just clear for everyone. And so the difference between these top ones and this bottom one is that the joy, the thumbs up, those will disappear automatically. But then the raise hand one, you will have to manually lower your hand when your question has been answered. So I'm gonna go over the top buttons here. So this button is full screen. So that's if you want the Zoom window to be as big as this whole screen. To fill up your entire screen, you just click this. And then over here, this green check mark, you click on it and here you just see some details about your meeting. The host, who the host is, the password, an invite link. If you want to invite more people, you could also just copy the link from here. So yeah, these are the different buttons that you have in your meeting. I'm going to go back to the slides to talk about some other things. So let me switch back right now. All right. So I'm just going to go over some things you might want to keep in mind during your meeting. So if your environment is loud or you're not currently talking, you can consider muting yourself, and that way the meeting room isn't too noisy. People can still hear each other. If you have your video on, remember to be mindful of what you're doing since everyone can see what you're doing right now. Another thing is if you're screen sharing. Screen sharing is very cool. You can show people what you're seeing on your screen, but it's good to make sure that any windows or things with confidential information are closed before you screen share. And that's just protecting your own privacy and making sure you're not sharing things that you're not comfortable with. And again, after you're done screen sharing, remember to stop screen sharing. Um, yes, and that just again to make sure you're not sharing things with other people that you don't feel comfortable with doing. And most people use the free version of Zoom, but it's important to note that there are limitations to the free version. One of the more notable ones is that if you have 3 or more people, there's a 40-minute limit to your Zoom meetings. So a workaround around that would be, let's say you think that your meeting will be over 40 minutes, then you can create 2 meetings in advance um, for to cover the whole meeting that you have. So with 2 meetings, you can have 80 minutes. Um, and then there's also the paid version of Zoom, and that's the one we're currently using right now, which is why we can go over 40 minutes. But that one, you have to pay for that. And another thing you might want to keep in mind is before recording a meeting, it's good to ask all the participants if they agree to be recorded, if they're comfortable with being recorded, before you do so to protect their privacy also. And so now I'm just going to go over some additional resources if you're using Zoom on your own and you realize you're having some troubles. You can always go to the Zoom Help Center, which is you can find it on this website. And this is how it looks like. They have different video tutorials that you can look at. Here we have video tutorial about how to join a meeting, how to record a meeting. So you can always come to this website to get some assistance. And again, you can also go to YouTube or Google to search specific things that you're having trouble on. And the chances are that someone else has already answered that question already. And another resource that I want to promote is from our club. So me and Chung are from a club called NTech, and one of the initiatives that we started last summer was this thing called NTech at Home, and it's a free phone and email-based tech support service for members of a community, and it is run by student volunteers at the University of Waterloo. So basically, if you're having some trouble with tech, you can go on our website to submit a form, or you can call us at this number. And then within a few days, one of our student volunteers will reach out to you to try their best to help you with whatever tech problem that you're facing. So that is all for me and Chung today. Now we're going to go to the question and answer portion of our webinar. So if anyone has a question, feel free to raise your hand using Zoom, or type in the chat box if you have questions that you want to write out.
So Venus, I do have one question here from somebody. And they're wondering about closed captioning. So a lot of meetings have closed captioning. Is that something that Zoom facilitates, or if you have any information about that?
I actually am not too familiar with that myself. Yeah, so
Okay.
I won't be able to, yeah, I'm not so sure. The only thing I know is that, yeah, I've never had, I don't really know. Trung, do you know more about this?
Yes. So Zoom actually doesn't have closed captioning. That's something that you might have to run through a third party to run alongside Zoom to do that for you. So there is no closed captioning feature in Zoom, unfortunately.
Right. So if I may, so I have a little bit of knowledge about closed captioning. So
Yeah.
So with Zoom, it allows you to basically connect, as Trung, as you said, to a third party. And if that person maybe would type live, so you could connect to one person who is going to actually type while the meeting happens. There are, of course, third party closed captioning services that you can pay for to provide captioning for your meeting. And then, of course, there are some automatic closed captioning services. Again, some of those are paid fees. There are some free ones I have experimented with. And I would say that, any automatic captioning service is a little bit of hit and miss, because you're asking the computer to sort of understand and interpret what you're saying, which, sometimes works okay and sometimes it does miss. So Zoom does allow for closed captioning, but yes, trying, as you said, does not directly provide captioning support.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I have another comment or question here. It says, if you invite everyone with the option to not unmute, can the host unmute one person? So I guess they're saying if everyone's muted, can the host unmute people?
Yes.
I've actually never experimented with that, but I feel like the host should be. Trung, do you have any experience with that?
Yep. So with the hosts, you have a panel where you can mute and unmute people as well on the very right hand side. So you can selectively choose who to mute or mute everybody.
In the participants
In
tab,
the
right?
participants tab, yeah,
Yeah,
you'll see more features like I can mute people if I wanted to. Just that that's one of the powers of as a host.
a host.
Yeah, the host can. I believe the host can actually mute and turn people's cameras off, but I'm not sure they can turn it back on.
Sorry,
I,
I
you're
don't think so.
back.
I think
Your
they can
mic.
ask permission. So, for example, if I go to unmute somebody right now who's muted, I don't have the option to unmute them directly. What it says is a button that says ask to unmute. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, a little pop up would show up saying, will you unmute your microphone? But I think once people are muted or turned off, the host can't turn them back on, but can ask their permission
To
to
turn
do
it
so.
back on. Yeah, I see the mute button, but I don't see the unmute button.
Hmm.
Another question here: how do breakout rooms work? Can you use breakout rooms if you're a participant?
So breakout rooms, as in like after a meeting, everybody just goes to different rooms to talk about things.
No, there is a function in Zoom that allows for breakout rooms when you have a paid version. So I think specifically those.
Yeah, so we don't usually use them, so I'm not very familiar with the breakout rooms. Do you, Dan? Have you used them before?
I've never facilitated them. I have
Hmm.
been involved with them.
Mm-hmm.
To answer your question, participant, I'm not sure that participants can orchestrate the breakout rooms. I believe that's something that the host does.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Yep,
host would assign individuals to however many breakout rooms is determined. So
that's right.
that's not something the participants do, but that would
Yep.
be up to the host.
Yep, they can assign a maximum of 50 breakout rooms.
Well, there you go.
That's a
That's a
lot.
lot. That's a lot of breakout rooms.
Yep.
Another question. Any idea why sometimes a participant has to use the meeting password and sometimes not?
So if you are invited with the meeting link, like sent to you, the passcode has been automatically generated. So you just join in and the password's entered. But if you were given the password, the meeting code ID, then once you join in, it's going to request for the password because that ID can be given to you. You can find it anywhere, like people can send it. So it's not really a secured link.
Yeah, that's interesting. And in my experience, I've also noticed that sometimes there may be the odd glitch where somebody does click on the link and for some reason it
No
asks for the
prompt.
password. Um, Usually when that happens,
Hmm.
I either give them the password or if they try again, usually it sort of self remedies. So sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I think just the nature of the Zoom software, like all software from time to time, has maybe a little bit of a hiccup. But
Yep.
yeah, generally, as Trunk said, um, if you use the link, it's auto generated. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have personal experience with that. I remember setting a meeting and putting a password, but then when the other person joined, they didn't need to put the password in. So I feel like it might be a glitch during that time that I didn't need to enter the password. But then sometimes he enters a password. It requires entering a password. So it was just a glitch in the software sometimes.
A question here says, I couldn't find where to make someone co host the other night, even though I was host.
So you were the host and you weren't able to add them as a co-host.
That's how it reads. Yeah.
Okay. So Venus, when you're going over, wasn't there a section for host powers? I'm just trying to see here because I don't see it
I
as a
from
co-host.
Yeah, as a co-host, I can't see it, but if I remember correctly, as a host, usually in the participants tab, like if I click on more or something, it should say like set the person as a co-host. It's Dan, is that how you set us as a co-host today?
Yep. So when you're the
Yeah.
host, if you hold your mouse over the individual's name in the participant list, you have a more button, you press more, and then within the more, assigned as co-host is there, as well as some other features, um, including you can make someone just the host. So for example, if you started a meeting but you're not able to stay for the whole time, then you could make that individual the host, and then you could leave and the meeting would still run.
Mhm.
So there's a few features in there. Yeah. Another question, how many co-hosts can you have?
That's testing the limit. So I'm not really sure. I'm gonna have to quickly check that right now.
You can have an unlimited number of co-hosts.
Everybody can be a co-host.
It's like being on the Oprah Winfrey Show. Everyone's a co-host.
That's right.
Co-host for you, a co-host for you. It says, I have another question here. Am I correct that if someone does not have Zoom installed and they try to join a meeting, Zoom will run on their browser?
That's correct. Yep. As Venus mentioned, there's two ways of joining. Yep. So if you have the app, you can use the app or straight from the browser. Just limited in certain features.
That's awesome. Listen, guys, I want to thank you both so much. So for those who are participating today, NTech at Home will be with us again on the third Wednesday in February. And I'm not sure, Venus, if we've determined the order of the presentations. Do you know what you guys are doing next?
I think it would be about web browsing. So websites that you'll probably use like Google Maps, YouTube, just common websites that I think it'd be good to know how to use.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, guys, keep your eyes open for that. As we said in the beginning, we did record this session, so it will be posted. Venus is going to put it on their YouTube channel and provide me with that link, which I will provide to you guys in a future email or weekly email. So I want to thank Venus and Joy for being with us today. It was really informative. It was a lot of really great information. And I look forward to the next session.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Dan, for supporting us as well.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Have
Thanks,
a good
everyone.
afternoon,
Have a good day.
Bye
Thanks,
bye.
everyone.
Bye bye.